The West Virginia Mountaineers are hoping to start a different kind of streak, a winning streak this time. Mountaineers and Colorado set to do battle this Saturday. We're going to go behind enemy lines for this Colorado preview. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. All right, welcome in everybody to Mountaineer Moment, episode number 70. Episode number 70. That's nuts. We've been at this thing for not even quite 2.5 months here on Mountaineer Moment, your source for covering West Virginia football and basketball. And as I mentioned in that intro, we're going to go behind enemy lines, a segment we've been doing, a series of episodes that we've been doing throughout the football season to gear up for the Mountaineers' coming matchup against the Colorado Buffaloes at home. Colorado comes into this game 3-6, 1-5 in conference play. Same exact record, same exact situation that the Mountaineers find themselves in. But Mountaineers, man, I tell you, there's a little, I don't know, it just feels different now because you picked up your first road win against a ranked opponent since 2018. You were able to have success on the ground. You're able to find a true freshman quarterback who has led you to victory, who played well the week before against TCU in a 6-point loss. And so vibes are up right now. Things are looking good. You played against the Houston team who was, again, ranked 7-1, and you took it to them, right? You were able to run the ball effectively. Scotty was able to connect on a few passes, and you came out with the win, man. I mean, what else can you say? So, big win for the Mountaineers, big one for just team spirit, team morale, team chemistry, all that stuff to go and beat a ranked Big 12 team on the road is big. So, again, this is Mountaineer Moment, episode number 70, covering West Virginia football and basketball. Available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're listening or watching. Please subscribe to this growing Mountaineer Moment channel as we keep you in the know on all things Mountaineer football and Mountaineer basketball. All right, so episode number 70. We're going behind enemy lines talking about this Colorado Buffalo team. So first thing first, we're going to talk about how they got here, how they arrived at this 3-6 record overall. So in the non-conference, they picked up wins over Delaware and Wyoming. They dropped their season opening game at home to Georgia Tech, who's been pretty decent this year, obviously. 27-20, they lost that game in Boulder. And just like the Mountaineers, they are 1-5 in Big 12 conference play. They have losses to Houston, BYU, TCU, Utah, and Arizona. Their lone win came right in the middle of that. A win at home against a ranked Iowa State team, and that they won that game. And the last couple weeks, though, to say that they are reeling is a bit of an understatement because the last 2 weeks they have struggled immensely. They've been outscored by, just in 2 weeks, they've been outscored 105-24. 105-24. One of those was a road loss to Utah. They lost 53-7, just dominated start to finish. And then last week, so the week prior to this matchup with West Virginia, they got another 50-piece on their head, 52-17 loss at home against Arizona. And now they got to go across the country. Now they got to go from the mountains in Colorado to the mountains in Morgantown and face a West Virginia team that's coming off their first win in Big 12 conference play. And so teams with the same record, but teams that are maybe trending in different directions, if that's possible, to have two teams with an identical record, a record that's not very good, and yet trending in different directions, right? Again, West Virginia, TCU loss at home against a good TCU team. You lose by 6, but you figure some things out, you think, and it appeared to be the case as West Virginia, was able to pick up that win against Houston, again, against the 22nd ranked team in the nation, and you win that game 45-35 behind the true freshman Scotty Fox. I mentioned the running game for West Virginia a moment ago, and we've obviously covered this if you've been here on Mountaineer Moment, with a couple episodes dedicated to that Houston recap sort of thing, and so you can go check those out. most recent episodes available are about the basketball team getting ready for their season opener against Mount St. Mary's, so be sure to check that out too, if you follow both sports, obviously. But West Virginia rushing against Houston, that was a topic of conversation that we had heading into that matchup because Houston had been very, very good against the run, especially the 3 weeks coming in. We looked at just that small of a sample size, 3 weeks, and Houston was giving up like 85 yards a game or something like that on the ground. They have a couple guys, interior D linemen, that are really, really good. And you worried, okay, well, what's West Virginia going to do? How are they going to be able to run the ball? If they're not going to be able to, is it going to be all on Scotty Fox's shoulders to keep him in the game? Like, how's that going to play out? Well, we didn't have to go that route because West Virginia was able to run the ball. 53 carries they had for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dior Hubbard, 29 carries, 108 yards for him. Scotty Fox, 10 carries, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, including a 34-yarder on a 4th and 4 that he turned into a 34-yard touchdown that extended West Virginia's lead late in the game. So shout out to WVU, man. Shout out to this rushing attack that they were able to put forth against coming into the game against the Houston defense that looked really, really, really good against the run. So anyway, Colorado, that's who they are. They're 1-5 in conference, 3-6 overall. And I'm going to give you a few numbers, just some things in my research and just kind of knowledge of who Colorado is, who they have, what they bring to the table, their struggles this year, obviously. I'm going to give you a few numbers that jumped off the page to me, just as some things to know, to keep an eye on in this matchup against West Virginia. The first one is 215.8. 215.8. That is the number of rushing yards allowed per game that Colorado's defense has given up this season. So almost 216 yards per game. That is by far the most allowed in the Big 12 this season, and it's actually the third most of any school in the nation this season. So the next closest for reference in the Big 12 is Baylor with 177 yards per game given up on the ground. And again, Colorado giving up nearly 216 yards per game on the ground. We talked about it. That blowout loss. They're coming off consecutive blowout losses. One of those was against Utah on the road, a team that rolled West Virginia as well. But Utah ran it in that one 51 times for 422 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's good for 8.3 yards per carry, again, just a couple weeks ago. And obviously it kind of figures, it makes sense, but Colorado is susceptible to giving up big runs, right? It's not just 6 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, and teams are just running it down their throat a little bit, little by little. Colorado is susceptible to giving up big runs. In that game alone against Utah, they gave up explosive runs of 63, 58, and 56 yards on 3 separate runs in that game. En route to 422 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. So they got rolled in that one, and that's just been a struggle point for them all season, is defending the run. Obviously, we know the names. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, no longer there. After a pretty decent season for Colorado, I guess they won 9 games last season, and they're no longer there, and it's showing, right? Colorado's having a tough go of things this season, especially over the last 2 weeks, getting rolled 105-24 combined score. So 215.8. That's the number to know because they're one of the worst teams in the nation as far as defending the run. Second number to know is the other side of the ball, but also running the football. So 130. So they just struggle to defend the run, but the offense struggles to produce in the running game. They're averaging 130 yards per game on the ground is this Colorado offense, and they're only ahead of Oklahoma State, we know their struggles, and TCU in that department this season. So this is a Colorado team, can't defend the run, and they're not running it particularly well. They have yet to, and I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know how this, it'd be a lot of research. I don't know how to figure this one out, but I just found it interesting. I don't know how it stacks up with the rest of the conference, rest of the country, rest of the Power 5, all that. they have yet to have a player run for 100 yards or more in a single game this season. I mean, we're nearing the end of the season, 9 games in, and they've got Caden Salter can run at quarterback, and they've yet to have a player eclipse the 100-yard mark in a single game this season. That's noteworthy. I mean, that's a testament to, again, just how much they've struggled in the running game this season. All right, 2 more numbers for you to know. This third one talks about these Colorado quarterbacks, so I'm going to get into here in this segment here. But the number I'm giving you is 5. 5. In that 52-17 loss against Arizona, which is the game before they come to Morgantown, Colorado had 5 turnovers, including 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. All right, 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. All right, not good. Not good. As a team, they've thrown 10 interceptions this season, and keep an eye on this Colorado quarterback situation. Mentioned Caden Salter, the Liberty transfer a moment ago. He's received the majority of the playing time. Sophomore Ryan Staub and freshman Julian Lewis have each seen playing time in the Big 12 as well. Again, freshmen and sophomores, and then Caden Salter, Liberty transfer, who led the Flames a couple years ago in 2023, led the Flames to that undefeated regular season, made the CFP and lost to Oregon. In the I think it was the Fiesta Bowl, I'm sorry, that was before the CFP. That was a New Year's Six Bowl. I just had to look that up. Liberty played in the Fiesta Bowl in 2023. Had they, before the expansion of the CFP. So, had it been that next year, Liberty would have been in, but they were not. They made a New Year's Six Bowl and got beat pretty bad against Oregon. So, anyway, that's a side note, but also a side note too. And I just wanted to mention this because I thought it was funny. Caden Salter, again, Colorado quarterbacks received the most of the playing time. Expect to see him on Saturday. Everywhere you see Colorado quarterback Caden Salter is listed as 6'1", a 6'1" QB. And I am here to tell you, I am a Liberty graduate. I have when Liberty played in the Conference USA Championship, I went to that game, and as far as like the team parade, they were rocking in pregame, and I was 2 feet from Caden Salter, and I'm 5'8.5", maybe, like on a good day. Caden Salter was my height. Caden Salter is not a centimeter above 5'8", not 5'9", maybe, right? Like 6'1" is nuts because he is very, very small. Just throwing that out there. When you see Caden Salter out there, Colorado QB, he is not 6'1" by any stretch of the imagination. Just saying. I've seen him in person. I've stood right beside him. He's not 6'1". Anyway, that's an aside. I guess that's another number to know is 6'1" is false. All right. So 5 turnovers, 5 turnovers last week against Arizona as part of that 52-17 loss at home. They're susceptible to turning the ball over, right? Teams that are struggling like Colorado is, especially the last 2 weeks, there's going to be some turnovers out there. And just keep an eye on this quarterback situation. We'll talk about that more as the week progresses as well. The last number I'm going to give you is 31. This is kind of similar to a problem that West Virginia fans are all too familiar with, is this performance of the offensive line. Colorado has had their struggles over the last 2 weeks. I've mentioned that a lot because those are 2 weeks where they've gotten absolutely destroyed. A lot of that starts up front with this Colorado offensive line. So, 10 over the last 2 weeks, they have allowed 10 total sacks and 21 tackles for loss. 10 total sacks and 21 tackles for loss given up by this offensive line for a total of 31. That's, again, our last number to know ahead of this matchup. So opposing defenses have been able to disrupt plays before they begin, get to the quarterback, and wreak havoc for the majority of the season, as we know, but especially over these last couple weeks in these blowout losses. West Virginia, a team that's trending again in a better direction. I'm not going to say like a great direction or anything like that, but a better direction, coming off a win. You saw a team that, got pressure on the quarterback last week against Houston. Jamoy Robinson even getting involved with a sack or a half sack and a half TFL to his credit. And look for West Virginia to really try and get after the quarterback. We know Zach Alley and what he likes to do as far as blitz and that kind of thing. So look for that. 31 over the last 2 weeks as far as sacks and TFLs. That's a really, really big number. And West Virginia, you can bet, is going to look to add to that number this coming Saturday. So that's it for this episode of Mountaineer Moment Behind Enemy Lines, episode number 70, here on the Mountaineer Moment, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. Please consider subscribing to the Mountaineer Moment movement. Leave a comment, drop a rating, toss a like, toss a follow, toss a sub, whatever you want to say. And just know that I appreciate it very much. So thank you for being here. And we got more content coming your way as the countdown to kickoff is on for the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Colorado Buffaloes in Morgantown coming up on Saturday. We'll see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.